Yo guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we go back to India because I watched Brahmāstra Part 1, Shiva. Alright, before we start with this review, I just want to go back to my movie review on Triple R, Rise, Roar, Revolt, RRR, because I have said multiple times in that video that it was a Bollywood movie, but that was on my mistake because it's actually not Bollywood. So I tried to do a little more research to this movie before I actually got to review it, but everywhere I look, I only see Bollywood. So I'm still not sure if it actually is Bollywood, so please correct me if I'm wrong. I maybe just should not say what part of India this movie is from, but as far as I know, this one is Bollywood, but I don't know. I just want to say I enjoyed this movie really much, and I hope you did too. Okay, so one of the first mistakes I made with RRR was waiting until it got on Netflix. I actually saw it was played in our movie theaters, but I didn't go to it. But then I saw that they were gonna release Brahmāstra Part 1 in the movie theater that I live close to on the day it actually got out in the world. Like, everywhere. So I actually got to see this movie on opening day, which was quite interesting because I did not have a single review to base my excitement on. So I only had the trailer and what my fans on the RRR video told me. And some people told me that I should watch Brahmāstra, but it wasn't the most of people that actually recommended this one. People more recommended the older Indian movies or movies that were made like a couple of years before. So I actually went in blind to this. I saw the first reviews were not the most positive, but there were quite some positive and there were quite some negative things. And I gotta say, now rereading all of those, I gotta say I am quite on the same page on a lot of the criticisms this movie has. It is, and let's just say this is my very second movie from the Indian culture, so I only have watched RRR and then this one before. So yeah, I have not a lot of expertise in these movies, so I kind of liked them up till now. And I gotta say, I really, really like this one too for the most part. It's very funny, it's very interesting, it's very big, it's giant, it's grand scale, and you can really see the hand of Disney in this movie because the budget for it may have not been the highest of budget, but they did spend it in a great way. This movie has a lot of CGI, is over-reliable on CGI in the most parts, but the things that they do with it and the things that they try to accomplish and the way they have the fight scenes and the way they have everything else, it really works for the story. And even though some of the CGI looks very bad and very wonky, I gotta say, it all worked for the better for the story, and it was actually quite beautiful to watch, even though some things looked fake. Furthermore, the story surrounding the CGI, it isn't the biggest story. The movie is 2 hours and 50 minutes long, and there are moments that you really feel that length, especially in the first third of the movie, because the movie starts out beautifully in the first 15 to 20 minutes. We get a recap for everything we need to know about the Astras. We then get to know our main character Shiva and what he is up to and how he's a DJ. We get our first song and it's really vibing and it's great, and I was jumping and I was dancing in the movie theater and it was awesome. And then he meets this girl, what the story is about, the love story between him and this girl. And I gotta say, that is the most important part of this movie, that love story. But it's also the most underdeveloped one, because in the first third of the movie, it's just them speaking to each other a lot, them figuring out some things that are gonna happen later on in the movie. But mostly that love story, which is quite nice because the two lead characters have a great chemistry with each other, It's just the story is not written in the best way that they possibly could, making for a very wonky backstory and a very wonky love story. You feel the love in it, but you also see how clunky it actually is. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but it's definitely not the best. And it actually is when they leave and they get into the white or silver BMW, and everything starting from that point, like 20 minutes before intermission comes, it's fantastic. Everything after that is fantastic. It's just that love story in the first half of the movie really doesn't work as beautifully as the director of this movie probably thinks it is doing. And that is quite painful in the beginning. You still have fun with the movie, but it's a piece you really have to get through to get to the great parts of the second and third act, which are absolutely great, absolutely phenomenal. I really loved everything about that. The characters, the same thing. Our lead character is great. The girl is awesome. Everything else and everyone else in this movie is quite good. The villains, we have these three villains. Wasn't completely sure on them, but they were fine in the end. But the character I want to talk about the most is the character of Dev, of Brahm's Dev. I gotta say, he's not in the movie that much, but for the moments he is and for the moments his presence is felt, is really interesting and really great. And even though we have no actor for him, and even though his character was more of a mystery in this movie, his backstory was awesome and really make you feel the grand scale of that character in the upcoming movie Part 2, Dev. Because wow, there is a reveal at the end of this movie, something you tend to forget during the movie, but they wind back to it. And the way they do that and the way they set up the sequel is phenomenally great. And that is why the characters of this movie are so damn good, because the movie may be on a story-wise level, it may not be the best, but they definitely know what they were doing with this movie. As Brahm's Dev, Shiva, the girl, and everyone having an Astra is laid out perfectly, making for a very fun movie with a wonky story, but still a very, very, very fun time at the movie theater. I do recommend watching this in the movie theater because I do think that this grand scaleness of everything and the CGI fest and everything does not work that well on a smaller screen. I'm gonna give Brahmāstra Part 1 Shiva a 707 out of 1000 or a 7.1 out of 10. Have you seen this movie or are you gonna watch it? Please let me know in the comments down below because I'm really excited to hear your opinion on it. Thank you for watching and goodbye.